Hi, my name is Maya, and I'm the director for this documentary, Unheard. I first met Mr. Chai about 8 years ago when I became friends with his daughter. And when you first meet Mr. Chai, you notice his sense of humor, his generosity, and his work ethic. It wasn't until I got to know Mr. Chai a little bit better that I realized he had an amazing story to tell. I finally feel like I have the means to help Mr. Chai honor his family's journey.
My name is Dhanur, and I am the host and producer of this documentary. When I first heard Mr. Chai's story, I couldn't help but think about my own immigrant experience. When I moved to the United States, my family wasn't necessarily escaping a communist regime, but we were looking for a better life. As my conversation with him ensued, I realized that although the means of Mr. Chai getting to the US were very different than my own, we wanted the same thing. Our goal was the same. We wanted a new beginning.
We hope that these interviews can memorialize a family who risked everything for a better life, and that Mr. Chai's words can educate future generations on this important piece of history.
We want to thank you guys for watching. A huge shout out to Najhawan for the cinematography and Gavin Hua for editing this amazing, amazing story. Enjoy.
My name is Ki Pansavat. I was born in Pak Se, Laos. In the 60s, don't have the good exact date, okay?
Oh, no.
Yeah,
we'll bleep it out if you accidentally say
so, been, from Laos to Thailand to America. So that's the basic.
Okay, so you grew up in Laos until you were 8.
Correct.
What was a typical day like for you and your family in Laos before everything changed?
So, just like most other small town, I suppose, student, kid would go to school. Parent, would go to the routine with the business, making a daily living. My mother had, we have a little coffee shop, okay, so she would serve coffee. My dad runs a taxi, he would take passenger from the town to the village back and forth. It's one of those Toyota pickup truck, and they put 3-row seat with a wooden bench in the middle.
That's fancy.
So that's all he does, right? He take people in and out of the city, and my mom would, stay home with the kid, and the kid would go to school, of course, and that's the basic, people do the routine, running around into the open market in daytime to buy stuff, and just a normal daily life that, pleasant, no stress, no hassle. Live as normal as you can, sure. Right? Yeah.
So what did you do for fun there as a kid?
Well, my house, we live near the Mekong River. Whenever we have a chance, I like to go near the river. There's a temple there. There's a Buddha temple near where we live, and we would like to go there because it's a little river we can play with, and the sand and all. So that's nice. And the other thing, we have a lot of mountain and river out in the wood. My parent or my aunt, they would like to take us out, and it's nice. You go in the creek, you see nice little silverfish and what have you. So it's plenty thing to do naturally, without any commercialized stuff. Just go out in the wood, go out in the countryside, farmland. Okay, so.
Right. So what changed?
All right. Well, the change had to go back a few years. So this is, during the Vietnam War. After the Vietnam War failed, the North Vietnamese took over the South Vietnamese and become fully communism, obviously. And then Cambodia go. And the next thing is Laos. Laos, from what I understand, is virtually, was voluntary become communism, okay? Just overnight, they said, okay, we're communism. Now, I didn't know much about communism back then. I don't think anyone does. But one day coming home from school, we would come back to school, and, along the street, I would hear people screaming, yelling. Don't know what it is, go back, But later found that, well, people scream yelling because they lost all their money. So when the communists say, we're communism now, all the banks shut down. Most business got shut down, right? So first thing is people worry about their money. It's one thing, right? So they lost that. They're screaming, yelling. All right.
So you're saying like everyone's savings were just gone.
Right. If you have money in the bank, and also the value of the money is pretty much devalued to money, nothing. Your dollar become a penny now. Okay, so wow. That's what happened. So your asset devalue and everything else you have bank in the money, your money in the bank, that is, you pretty much worth nothing. So that's one thing that apparently noticeable. Okay, now along that line, in a couple of weeks, a month later, I start noticing that obviously there's many business shut down. Okay, I noticed that every about I would say 100 yards or so, there's a checkpoint block on all the road. Okay, every 100 yards there's a checkpoint with 2 soldiers standing by there. Okay, and also one thing also I noticed that you see car just laying on the street because they aren't there's no gasoline. A car will lay down the street. There's no gas.
And I'm assuming you guys didn't run out of gas. It was just that did the government constrict the supply?
Correct. They restrict all in and out commerce of the city. There's no gas coming in. Period. They won't let you come. They control everything. Okay, so you have vehicle, it ran out of gas, you're done. You just sit there, right?
You just leave the car there.
Correct. There's nothing you can do, right? So you see car laying down there. The other thing I did notice that on the light post, telephone, we call it telephone pole, on the post along, how many posts there is. Every post they put a loudspeaker, hook up. Okay, and the purpose of those loudspeakers is to put propagandize and brainwash people. Every morning, 6 a.m., right on the dot, 12 noon and 6 p.m., they would broadcast communist propaganda. How great the communists is, the brotherhood, the sisterhood. How all communists are supposed to help us live together, work together, everything. So every morning, nonstop. And
did people buy into this message? I mean, so you're saying the government changed pretty much overnight,
right?
And almost instantly they were broadcasting this propaganda. Were people okay with it? Did they agree with this message?
I don't think so. Reason being, although I was a young kid, but looking back, asking my parents, nobody expect this is going to happen, right? At least they didn't prepare it. So another thing happened was that, when the communists come in, not only the roadblock, the propaganda on the loudspeaker, but all the male adult was sent to concentration camp, we call them. So basically is to brainwash them. So I remember when the first came, my dad would go, maybe a month, to go into this. I don't know where they go. They just took them. You just have to go. They go there for a month, and we don't see him. Actually, we don't even know where they're taking him. They just come and say, okay, you go with us. And I do not even know if they pack their clothes. They just say, all the male go. They just go, right? And we don't know if they're coming back or not. We just know they went.
So just to clarify, this was mandatory, and they would just take, like your dad, you're saying,
correct,
to get like
re-educated.
Yeah. What?
Yeah.
And you don't know when he's coming back.
Correct.
You don't know where he is.
That's right. Right. And no one dared to protest either because they come with guns. They would come with guns. And also, one thing for sure, for certain, if you've been through the experience, that they all go in pair. The communist soldier, that is, then male or female, they're young too. Okay, they're all over, but they come in pair. Where they goes in a pair. This is how communists work. So for the kid, we didn't know any better. Of course, when things shut down, business shut down, school shut down. No school, we were great, right? But didn't realize what's going on. We just don't know school, right? But of course, eventually, when things settle, schools open. Another thing I can tell you is that communism also, it's kind of scary in that, is that they have full authority, to do whatever they want. An example is that at one time, I remember they were going to houses, different houses, and go and take stuff out for whatever they need, they want. And when they come, although they'll say, for the good of brotherhood.
For the good of the brotherhood.
Yeah, we want to take whatever. They go in there, Now, for us, my dad and I, at one point, I remember we have a friend who had this a few days ago. Say, hey, they come to my house, took whatever. So they kind of warn us. So we went, my dad and I, my parent, I guess, went and find all the valuable that we can think of and put them in a big old sack. And we have pig style in the backyard where, a small house, but we have pig style in the back. We raised 2 pigs, I believe. So my dad and I get stuff, go in the back of the pig style, dig a big hole, put an oil barrel down there and put all whatever good we can and shove it in there and bear it up. Just so they won't.
So they can't get to it.
Correct. All right. So 2-3 days later, they did come, knock on the door about 6 p.m. or so in the night. And what can you do? Come with gun. For the good of brotherhood, they say, they go look, they open up a drawer. What do you have to take? I do know for this, all the good stuff they take, clothes, shoe, pot, pan, dishes, anything good, they'll say, for the good of brotherhood,
so
you are sharing.
They didn't even stop at the valuables, right? Not just jewelry. They were taking your shoes, your clothes.
Anything there. Yeah, well, obviously, all the jewelry are hidden, right? No, they're not going to find it.
Okay.
But any other good stuff, I do know they also seek pots of pan too, right? So anything that's valuable to them, obviously they just take it, and you can't say much, right?
So overnight, this group went from having really no authority and being relatively unknown in Laos to being the supreme authority in the country. So they could do anything they wanted with anyone they wanted.
That's right. Yep. Yes.
So how did your family react to this?
Well, just like everybody else, they were kind of shocked. What's going on here? Usually, again, in a normal life, everybody live. No one come tell you what to do unless you violate a law of some sort. But authority would come in there. But no, this is where they just go any house they want to and just say, "I need this in the name of Brotherhood," because they have the authority. They carry guns and take whatever they want. Okay, so they would take the thing that they needed for the good of Brotherhood, and they do that. So all of us were kind of shocked, but then. You can't say anything. You can't say no. You don't want to fight. Mm-hmm. Now, talk about fight. We do have. I do witness somebody who actually go against them. Guess what? You just take him, block him. Just take him with him. That's it, right? The guy try to go and argue against them. You can't take this. You can't do that. But they just book him up, take him up, and alive, dead, nobody know. I don't remember. He may have came out. The guy that I know of, but they definitely took him away. So that's
disappeared.
That's correct. Disappear. Talk about disappear. As a matter of fact, a lot of people that from what I heard, did went to that concentration camp, I suppose. Mm-hmm. Some of them went there for years, didn't get back to their family. I guess they either refuse or don't follow, or they got sent elsewhere. Who knows? All I know is that in our community, there are certain people never did come back. That is.